Okay, in this video, we're actually going to cover Ephesians 4:23 and 24 because this is one thought. So go back if you're just watching this video, you need to go back and watch Ephesians 4:22 because Paul is giving you the Ephesian church a contrast from what we were, our old self, to what we need to be. And he says, and verse 23, and that you are to be, not the old self, but you are to be renewed ananiu, renovated. So think of how you would go into this property, you'd go into this home, and it's full of mold, it's full of just dust and debris, and it's full of just nastiness, like rat droppings. And I mean, think of like all of this filth that is in this house, and you've bought this property. So your task is to renovate it. Think of you're renewing it. You're making it new again. And how do you do that? You've got to tear down all of the things that are corrupt. You've got to tear down all of the things that have mold and all the sheetrock. Everything's got to go because it's all disgusting and filthy. And you don't want that in your new house. Like you bought it super cheap, right? And so you're going to renovate the whole thing. You're going to tear it down to the beams, and even some of those have to be replaced if there's mold or whatever on it. So like you are to be renewed. You are to be made a new creation. You are to be renovated, and that means the whole thing's got to be fixed in the spirit of your minds. And so the Holy Spirit is the one that helps us. Like we do certain things because we think about those things, and we think about those things because we talk about it, we think about it, and so then we do it. Well, the Holy Spirit's job is to help us renovate our minds, because from the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Well, it's what we're thinking, so we say it. And when we say it, then we'll go do it. If we want to do different things, we got to say different things, which means we've got to think different things. And so we've got to have our minds renewed by the Holy Spirit. Verse 24, and then put on the new self. This word put on is this Greek word, endio, which again, I may not be pronouncing these correctly, but it means to sink into. And so later on in Ephesians, when Paul talks about put on the armor of God, it's the same Greek word, sink into the armor of God. He's got everything you need in order to do what's right. He's got the Holy Spirit to help renovate your mind, and he tells us how to behave, what to do in order to be a Christian, what to do in order to be a follower of Christ, a disciple. The Bible is full of commands. 613 in the Old Testament, 1,050 in the New Testament. We're not short on what to do. So he tells us how to go about doing this. Sink into this new self, this new creation that he's creating, which in the likeness of God has been created in righteousness. And that's this Greek word, dikaiosine. I'm not a Greek pronunciation scholar here. It means a right standing with God. It's a condition acceptable to God. So what does God require? What does God tell you to do? Once you become a Christian, once you've accepted Christ, and you believe in Jesus Christ, and of course it is by grace through faith that we're saved, not by works. We're not saved by works. But once we become a Christian, we're expected to do good deeds. We're not expected to continue evil deeds, and we're not expected to be just neutral and not do anything. We are commanded to do what he said to do. Go into all the world and preach the gospel. Make disciples of all nations. Jesus takes these Torah commands and he strengthens them and makes them stricter. So, we're not short on things to do in order to be found righteous. And we're found righteous partially because we've accepted Jesus Christ, and then the other part is because we are in a condition acceptable to God. We're doing the right thing. That's it right there. We're doing the right thing. We're in a condition acceptable to God. So we're conducting ourselves in the right way. So we have been created in righteousness and holiness of truth. And truth is always, I probably mentioned this in a previous video, truth is always one of those things, well, what's true for you is not true for me. No, the Greek word there, aletheia, is absolute truth. That's what it means. It means what is objectively true in any and every situation. So it's not a situation where it could be, well, you believe in this religion and so that's true for you, but that's not true for me. No, Paul is saying that the reality of Jesus Christ is absolute truth. No one in 2,000 years has been able to refute the historical accuracy that there was a man named Jesus Christ. These were his parents. Matter of fact, the Bible, the Gospels provide a genealogical record so that they can go back all the way and see whose parents, whose ancestors were this individual, whose were Jesus, right? And so they provide incredible details. They even name people who were living at the time the book was written. So if there was something incorrect about that book, those people who were listed could refute that, or their children could refute that. But they didn't. Nothing was refuted because it is absolute truth. And this is how we are renewed, our minds are renewed, is because we face the truth of our old condition and what we are in Jesus Christ, what the Holy Spirit does in our minds, in our hearts, and changes us into what we need to be. So that is Ephesians 4:23 through 24. Hope you're enjoying this series. If you've got suggestions for the next book you want me to cover, feel free to drop it in the comments and feel free to share some of these videos. All right, God bless.